So we are most likely live on YouTube in maybe 5 seconds. I don't think I need to introduce Brinda for this particular audience. She has done many sessions for us. She's been part of this community for a long time. So without further ado, I think Brinda, maybe you should take it up and run with the session.
Yeah, thank you, Mukesh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to today's session, wherein we would like to introduce all of you to this new section that has been introduced by the government, that is TDS on gifts and benefits under section 194R. Wherein we'll walk you through the solution demo and the note that is being released, and we'll try to answer to your questions. I also have with me my colleague from development team, Mr. Priyaprata Singh. So without wasting much time, we'll move on to the next slide. So this is the agenda for today's session. Wherein even though we all know what is the regulatory background, I would just like to reiterate the same so that we all are on the same page. Then we'll walk you all through the configuration that is required for enabling this TDS under section 194R, the master data changes that you will have to do, a brief solution demo on how this entire process works. We'll give you details on the SAP note that is being released for the same, and a few additional points or the key points on this solution. And then we'll wind up by opening the session for Q&A. Okay, so now let's quickly move on to the regulatory background. So all of us know this new change is effective from 1st July 2022 onwards. This new TDS section is applicable on any benefit or perquisite that is exceeding a value of 20,000 INR. TDS is to be deducted by a resident whose previous year turnover is greater than 1 crore for any business, and greater than 50 lakhs for any profession. Right? Then TDS is to be deducted by any person providing any benefit or a perquisite to a resident arising from the business or profession of such resident in nature of income falling under this section 28(4) of the Income Tax Act. And then the rule also says that TDS is to be deducted at 10% rate. Then this section itself was quite created quite of ambiguity, because the rule did not clarify as to what transactions would be falling under this 194R. So based on the information that we have from our legal team, this is how we have, this is what is the information that we have as to how, what are the transactions that are excluded from the applicability of 194R, and what are the transactions that are included under the section 194R. So when we say benefits or perquisites, it's a very wide or a broader spectrum word. So anything could fall under the benefits or perquisites, like cash, any benefit that is provided in any of the kind, right, or any of the monthly schemes, samples, etc., etc. So as per the information that we have from our legal team, any of these benefits, like a cash or a monetary benefit, it is not covered under the section 28(4) of IT Act, so it is excluded from applicability of 194R. Then these monthly schemes wherein you would be providing some kind of a trade discount or a cash discount to your customers, right? So these things also will not come under the applicability of 194R, because this is considered as an expense and not a benefit or a perquisite. Okay, then the free goods or the samples that is provided to your customers also is considered as a selling expense and not as a benefit or a perquisite. So all these things are excluded from the applicability of 194R. This is as per the rule or as per the clarification that we have got from our SAP legal team. Then what is included under 194R is any kind of a gift that is being provided to your customer or your supplier or your dealer, like you're gifting something like a gold coin, or you're gifting an iPhone, or you're sponsoring for a trip. Then these are some kind of a personal benefits that is being provided, and this will fall under the section 194R of Income Tax Act. So this is about the applicability of the transactions under this 194R. Then let's quickly move on to the configuration steps, how to enable this 194R in your respective SAP systems. So first thing is, like any other section of Income Tax Act, you will have to create a new withholding tax key for this TDS. So 194R is the new official withholding tax key that should be created in your system. I'll anyway take you all through the demo in the system as well. So this presentation is to just give you an idea on what are the steps that should be followed for the configuration part. Then you will have to create a new tax type for invoice time. For other sections of IT Act, we are already aware that government had introduced a rule telling the tax should be applicable at the time of invoice, payment, or goods or service acceptance, whichever happens first. But here in this case, what would be the applicability? Because the gift or a benefit, say for example, you're gifting an iPhone to your customer. So the gift will be procured from Chroma or some other supplier, and it will be gifted to your customer. So what would be the applicability? So to make it very simpler, you will have to only create the tax type and tax code for invoice type posting. Here there is no need for payment time tax type and tax code. So you will create a new tax type for invoice time posting. Then this newly created withholding tax type will be assigned to your company code. Then you will create a new withholding tax code for this invoice time posting. Then if this activated extended withholding tax is not activated in your organization already, then you will have to activate this. So most of you who are already using our existing TDS or TC solutions would have this enabled. So this is just an additional point. Then you will have to create the GL account and assign to this tax type and tax codes that you've created. So one key point here is the GL account that is assigned to this tax type and tax code should be open item managed. So this is one key point that you will have to remember when you're creating a GL or when you're using an existing GL. If you're assigning it to the tax type and tax code, ensure it is open item managed. Okay. Then before we move on to the master data, I'll walk you all through the configuration part. So let's move on to the SAP system. So in the SPRO path, you go to the standard IMG settings, and under financial accounting new, financial accounting global settings, you have this withholding tax tab. Under withholding tax, extended withholding tax, basic settings, this is the place where you would define the new withholding tax keys, right? So here you will introduce for country India, you will introduce a new official withholding tax key 194R. Then you will have to create a new tax type and tax code. So under this calculation node here, you have this withholding tax type node under which you create withholding tax type for invoice posting. So this is the place where we go and create the tax type for invoice posting. So we've already created the withholding tax key for invoice posting. I'll just show you those entries that is being created. So this is the tax type that is being created. Then we'll also have to define a new tax code for this new section 194R. So we'll define that under this withholding tax code tab. So we've already created a new tax code and a tax type. So this is the one which is being created, which I'm showing for your reference here, 4R. Then this newly created tax type and tax code should be assigned to your company code, right? So under the company code node, there is this assign withholding tax type to company code tab. So this is the place where you will assign your newly created tax type to your company code. So your IN01 is the reference company code to which I'll post the document today. So this is the assignment that is being made. Okay. And the GL accounts under this posting tab, accounts for withholding tax. Here we have this define accounts for withholding tax to be paid over. So under this node, for the newly created tax type and tax code, you will assign the GL accounts. Okay, so this is the entry that we have maintained for tax posting. So this is the configuration part. This is very basic configuration. There's not too many things that you will have to follow. It's only a few steps with which your system is ready to post the 194R entries. Okay. Now we'll move on to the presentation again. Okay. So when it comes to master data, it's quite simple. So your newly created tax type and tax codes should be assigned in the customer master and the supplier master. So here, when the government says gifts or benefits or perquisites, it can be the benefits or perquisites can be given to your customers, to your suppliers, dealers, anybody, right? So this newly created tax type should be assigned to your customer master and supplier master both. So if you see here, I am showing in an S4 system wherein in the business partner transaction, under the BP role FI customer and company code tab, you have this customer withholding tax tab, under which you will assign the newly created tax type. Okay, tax type and tax code. You will tick this checkbox and the date from which you would want to enable this. Right. So this is the entry that you would be doing in the customer master. Then in the supplier master, this is the supplier under this FI vendor BP role and the company code tab. We have the supplier withholding tax tab. So under this, you will assign the newly created tax type and tax code for the supplier. So in case any perquisite or a benefit is provided to the supplier, and you would have to deduct the TDS for whatever benefit is been provided. So in that case, this 4R or whatever you assign will help you deduct TDS for this particular supplier. So this is about the supplier master and the customer master. Then we'll quickly go on to the solution demo. I will not show you on the master data part because anyways, we already know from the screenshots as to how it is to be maintained. So now how to post this 194R entry is, most of you who are already using India TDS solution must be aware of this transaction J1IN JV. Right, J1IN JV transaction was introduced for adjustment of TDS that was posted. So in order to make it more simpler, we have used the same transaction code wherein we have enhanced with an additional tab to post this 194R entry. So customers are already using it. Once you implement the solution, you will get this new node for you to post this 194R entry. So there's another transaction code as well, which will directly bring into you the bring you to this screen. So in the next slides, I will give you information on that as well. So once I click on this 194R post 194R document tab here in J1IN JVT code, you need not enter anything here. You will have to click on this tab button here. So once you click on the button, this is how the selection screen for 194R posting will look like. Here we have defaulted this 194R section because this transaction is basically to post TDS entries for section 194R, and you will key in the company code fiscal year. Section code is mandatory. This is required for reporting. So if you're posting this 194R entry for your customer, you will enter the customer number. If you're posting it for a supplier, you will post the supplier number here. Then your document date and posting date, the posting period, the tax type and tax codes that is being created for this 194R should be keyed in here. And this amount field, what you see here, is the base amount. So as per the rule, what rule says is, say if you're gifting an iPhone worth 70,000 to your customer, ideally you should be charging TDS at 10%, which is 7,000 from your customer. Right? You should not be charging the entire 70,000 and 7,000 from the customer. It's only 7,000 that should be charged from the customer. So you will only key in the base amount here, which is 70,000, and the tax will be deducted based on the tax type and tax code and the base amount that you've entered here. This document header text and reference fields is for customers to key in values in case you want to give any document reference for your internal audit purpose, or you want to track something based on any of the previously posted entries, then those reference or the header text will help you in tracking those things, right? So now let us post 194R entry for a customer. I have a variant saved, so I'll key in all these things. See, now in this header text, say I want to say in a particular day I've gifted something for the customer, so I'm just keying in the date. So on this particular date I have posted, I've given something to this particular customer, so I'm posting a 194R entry for it. Or I've just gifted an iPhone, so I can just key in the header text there. And if there's any invoice that of what you've procured from your supplier that you would want to give as a reference, you can give in that invoice reference as well here. Okay, so once I choose the customer number here and I go into an F4 on this tax type and tax code fields here, only the tax types and tax codes that is assigned to this customer will appear here. So even though you have created tax types and tax codes for multiple sections, All of that will not appear here. Only what is assigned in this particular customer master will appear here. So it is easy for you to choose the tax type and tax code. Now let's go and I click on the withholding tax tax data tab here. So this will give you my base amount. What I keyed in on the selection screen is 10,000. On 10,000 at 10% rate, it's 1,000, which is the tax amount. So you can see that here. So this is more like a simulate thing, whatever you can see. You will not be able to change anything here because based on the base amount that you've keyed in on the selection screen, system will automatically calculate the tax amount. Okay, so it's done. Now I'll execute. So now my accounting entry will be posted. So I'll show you how my accounting entry would look like. So if B03 is the transaction through which you will be able to view this document. This is the document that I posted. Is clear. So here, what we have done is we are the tax amount is only 1,000, and the base amount of 10,000 ideally should not be charged to the customer. Right. So here, what we do is we are only crediting the tax account with 1,000, and we are debiting the customer account with 1,000. So it's a very simple and straightforward posting where you only see the tax line where we debit the tax amount from the customer or the supplier, and we credit the tax amount. Okay. So this is how the posting will appear for your customer. Now I'll post an entry for the supplier. So the same transaction code, I'll click on this post 194R document. I have a variant saved here for the supplier as well. So I'll key in the values here. If you see, my base amount is 1,000. Now, if we go to the tax type or tax code option here for the supplier master, we could see that in the supplier master, there were 3 tax types assigned. One is for 194R and another one is for 194Q, which is for TDS and purchase of goods. So all these entries, whatever is assigned in the supplier master will appear. So you will have to choose the right one and you will have to post it. Okay, so it's all entered here. Now I click on execute. It will post an accounting entry. So now let's view this accounting document. So here also, if you see here, what we do is the same thing. 100 rupees TDS is being deducted on 1,000 rupees, whatever I entered on the selection screen at 10%. So here again, I debit the supplier account and we credit the tax account. So this is the simple posting. So this is all about the solution part of it. Now let's quickly move on to the next part of it, which is the I'll show you the note that is being released. So this is the note that is being released for this TDS under section 194R. This note as of now is still in the pilot state, and customers who are interested to get access to the note can raise an OSS and ask for the pilot access. Or if you can wait for a week's time, we will be anyway releasing this note as a general to all the customers by next week. So you can get this note by next week. So if you want an early access, maybe you can raise a ticket and our product support colleagues can add you as a pilot customer to the note. Okay, so one moment, there were some additional points. Before we end the session and open up for Q&A, there are some additional points that I would want to introduce you all of you to. So there is an exemption amount or a threshold amount of 20,000. What a government is told that only when your benefit or a perquisite value exceeds 20,000, TDS at the rate of 10% should be charged. right? So here we are not considering any accumulation logic for 20,000 because it's just 20,000 rupees, and considering an accumulation logic will have a bigger impact because there will be too many things that will be coming into picture, like the table locking, the cancellation scenarios, credit notes, wherein all of this will play a role. And we already have experienced, all of you must also have experienced during TDS and TCS, wherein there were a lot of challenges because of this accumulation logic. But there, the amount was quite huge. It was up to 50 lakhs. But here it's only 20,000. So we are not doing any standard accumulation logic here. So this has to be taken care at the customer end or at your end, rather I would say. So say you're gifting worth something worth 10,000 to ABC customer today, and 20,000 worth gift to ABC customer, say next month, then ideally you will have to keep a track and post the TDS accordingly. So we will not be accumulating up to 20,000 if that is being given. Anyway, your customer or your supplier or your dealer can get it knocked off against their income tax liability at the end of the financial year, right? Then I've already told this in the demo mode also that we did not create the payment time tax type and tax code. It's only invoice time tax type and tax code that is required to be created here. Then in the note also we have provided the details on this baddie. So just in case you want to pass any additional parameter like your business area, profit center to accounting interface, then this is the baddie and the enhancements that you can use to pass on the values. Okay. So I said that we've enhanced this transaction. So in case when you implement the note and you're not getting this 194R tab on the J1I and JV transaction, then you can straight away run FIW TIN underscore 194R transaction. The reason why we have integrated in this J1I and JV is to reduce the overhead of remembering multiple transactions. So in case this tab doesn't appear when you implement the note, you can straight away run this transaction, which will also take you to the same selection screen of 194R. Okay, then most of you must have already asked the questions about the remittance and the reporting solution. So there will be no separate transactions for remittance or reporting. The standard remittance and reporting solution, what is there for other sections, will be enhanced to accommodate the transactions that are posted for 194R. Okay, so this will be done once we release the note in general for all the customers. So the note which I showed in the previous slide will be released in general by next week to all the customers. So once that is released, and maybe by mid-July or by third week of July, you can expect the solution for remittance. And reporting, anyway, we will have to wait because the government has to open up the utility to accommodate 194R, right? Then how do you cancel if there's any posting that has happened through J1I and JV and entered an incorrect base amount and it has been posted incorrectly? So it's FB08 through which you can cancel the document. Maybe I can show you as to how the entry would look like once you cancel this document. So this is the document that we posted now, right? One moment. This is the document that we posted. So let's cancel this document. So I'm canceling this document now. So it will reverse. The posting that has happened. So wherein it will be the other way around of your forward entry. So your debit and credit will be reversed accordingly. And this is how your cancellation entry would look like. Okay. Then, so just for your reference, if you want to populate, like I told you about the baddie and the enhancement, right? So if you want to update this business place or business area or profit center in your accounting document, then you can use the baddie. So here, just for the reference, we have populated business place in our logic. So you can see here business place is updated updated for this particular accounting entry. So in case you want to update anything else other than section code, like your business place, business area or profit center, then through the badge that we've given you, you can pass in those fields to the accounting interface. Okay. So this is all from my end. So now we can open up the session for Q&A. Over to you, Mukesh.
Thanks, Brinda. I think Priya is already answering a lot of questions. Maybe let's pick questions that are still open.
Okay.
So again, as a reminder to everyone, please do not post your questions on the chat. Please post your questions under the Q&A tab. We will only be looking at questions which are under the Q&A tab. So first question, Sanjeev Jaiswal asks, for pharma companies who provide gifts to doctors, how do you tackle that?
Yes, see, I mean, from the clarification that we have got, ideally samples of free goods should not be taxed under 194R. But in case that is also taxed under 194R, you still have a provision wherein you can come and key in the value here, and you can post the TDS for your doctor or your medical practitioner, to whomever you are supplying the samples.
Okay, thank you. So there's a question where we are giving early payment incentive, which gets calculated at the time of FB05 clearing and reduces the residual balance. Will 194R withholding tax be applicable in the incentive amount?
From the information that we have got, no. Ideally, if the incentive is provided to an employee, it would not be coming under this 194R. So it would be applicable under the payroll transactions separately. So from the information that we have got, ideally it should not be applicable. 194R is not applicable for incentives in the business transactions, from what we know.
Okay. So is it necessary to benefit in kind of cash only?
No, it's not necessary to benefit in kind of cash only. Any kind of a gift or any kind of, like I said, you're gifting a gold coin, an iPhone or a laptop, or sponsoring a trip, all of these are coming under 194R.
So Saurabh asks, there is an accumulation limit of 20,000 as per law. I think you mentioned that is not being done by SAP and the customer has to take care of it.
Yes, Saurabh. Like I said, because the threshold amount is just 20,000, putting in the entire accumulation logic wherein you will have to lock the tables, or you will have to take care of the same during reversals, credit notes, etc., etc. We did not want to put in, because with other sections the amount would be more. So here the amount is just 20,000. So it's left to the customers. So you have the option to key in the base value. So when you're entering the base value, you can leave in the threshold, or you can key in including the threshold amount, and you can post the TDS entry.
So Ayesha Modi also asks a similar question. She says, how is the limit of 20,000 be calculated for customers if we have multiple customer codes in SAP for the same customer, I'm assuming?
Correct. So we will not be accumulating.
So that's what customer needs to do that. Yeah.
Correct. So again, the government says that the 20,000 would be at the PAN level. So you will have multiple customer masters for the same PAN. So it's not a small logic to put in the accumulation thing there, because there is no exemption certificate as such, but it's just a standard accumulation that or a threshold that government brings in, right? So for 20,000, we are not putting in any standard accumulation logic in our SAP solution.
Okay. She also asks, how document type is assigned for J1 INJV? Anyway, we can assign different document type for 194R document.
I did not get the question. Maybe Priya, if you have got the question, if you will be able to answer.
Yeah, whatever document type we assign to company code, that cannot be done. We have to maintain the document type in the JV customization. So we have mentioned that all these things in our process
SAP
document. Yeah, in SAP notes, though you can follow and you can maintain that document type.
Okay.
So that document type can be used while posting the document.
Cool.
Okay. Sorry, Mukesh, one moment. Sorry, Asha, I mean, I missed out on that part, I guess, in the part. So in that, we've given you the details of the document type that is to be linked. for this posting. So all the details is there as part of the note attachment. So once you get access to the note, you will be able to see how it will be done.
So that was the next question. Can you share the note number?
Okay. Let me see. This is the note number 3208096. I don't know if you will be able to access this in the launchpad as of now because it's still in the pilot state. So you can reach out to us so that we can add you as a pilot customer to get the access.
So how do they reach out to you? So do they have to write an email to you?
Or they will have to write an email, or they can raise an OSS incident to SAP, because that way we will also get their ERP number and the product support team can add them as a pilot customer.
Okay. So the next question is, what if PAN number is not available for customer?
If PAN number is not available, ideally TDS should be charged at a higher rate. So you will have to use the tax type and tax codes with higher rate for such customers or suppliers who have not provided you with a PAN.
So Sandeep Gupta just says incoming payments. I do not know. I'm sure you can understand, but.
No, I mean, like I said, payments, ideally it is not required. So when we're looking at the benefits or the perquisites part here, so we also try to understand as to how a payment or transaction would come into picture here, but we couldn't figure it out. So that's why we've asked you to create the tax type and tax codes at invoice level only, because through this transaction, it's only invoice time payment time tax type and tax code is sufficient to handle 194R. Payment time tax type and tax code is not required.
Okay. We have the next question is, we have retailers to whom we give gift. Retailer is not defined in SAP, and list of retailers will change every year. How should we deal with this?
See, ideally, when you're posting any transaction in the SAP system for income tax, either they should be a supplier master or a customer master, because that is also required for reporting, right? You will have to capture their PAN number. So for your retailer also, you will have to create a master data in the SAP system and post the entry accordingly. Otherwise, it will not be possible for us to track it when you post it, or it is not. it will not be possible for us to report it quarterly as well. So you will have to create a master data.
Thanks. So then the next question is, can we post multiple customers at one shot in one document number, or is there a mass load possibility available?
Multiple
mass upload, yeah.
Mass upload. Priya?
So two separate questions. Yeah. One is post multiple customers in one shot in one document, and the second one is mass upload of documents.
But I would have a question here. Even if it's for multiple customers, how would you key in the base amount here? Because see, same amount of gift will not be provided to multiple suppliers or multiple customers here, right? So that will be a challenge. But anyway, Priya would be the right person to answer here. Priya?
Yeah, for mass upload as of now, because if you see our core transaction like FB60, FB70, Myro, we are posting single each customer or vendor. So that's the reason we are not provided yet. But if you want, you can record the transaction whatever you are provided, and then you can do the BDC recording and you can post the multiple vendor or customer document as a mass. But yeah, we are providing only single document need to be posted at once.
Thanks, Priya. So the next question, I think you've already answered, which is this section applicable for employee as customers? No, not for employee, only for customers and vendors. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Next question is, perquisites does not have any financial document against any gifts to particular customer, right? So how to track the accumulation value? So you've said that as well, that we will not track, right. Customers have to track it themselves. Did I get it right?
That's the reason why we've given you the text and the invoice reference field in the selection screen. So for your internal audit purpose, in case you would want to key in a value there as to whatever you bought from your supplier, if you want to key in that value or any reference that you would want to key in for your internal tracking purpose for later on, that is what is going to help you. Say, for example, 10,000 is what is being posted today, and you want to post another document maybe a couple of weeks later, and then you would want to charge the TDS. So you can track it through the reference value, whatever you given, or the text that you enter in the selection screen of 194R.
Okay. So the next one is, in case I want to show TDS line item in invoice, how do we have to post it?
We have, the current 194R solution will not, ideally will not be used in the standard invoice posting. It has to be done through this JV posting. Why? I'll tell you why. Because if you're posting an invoice will be posted actually for the, say, if the gift amount is 20,000, then invoice will be posted for 20,000. But TDS is only applicable on 2,000. Which is 10% of your gift or your perquisite value, right? So invoice posting ideally will not work in a case like this, because TDS is only applicable at 10% on the benefit or the perquisite amount.
Okay, thanks. Again, a reminder to everyone, please do not post your question on the chat. Please post your question on the Q&A option. Next question. Once 194R is maintained in customer master, will it affect the other billing, invoice, or payment posting?
If the tax types and tax codes are maintained in the customer master, anyway, it will not impact. But if you're posting an invoice in the withholding tax tab of your FP70 entries, you will get this newly created tax types and tax codes as well, which you will have to remove in case it is not required.
Okay, thanks. Next question. Tax type and tax code should be defaulted from master like in other cases?
It will not be defaulted in this case, but yes, as I showed you in the F4 help, you will only get those tax types and tax codes that are relevant for that particular customer or supplier. So that gives you a very less option of choosing.
Okay.
It's not like you are having some multiple, say 20, 25 tax types and tax codes created in your system. All of that will not default. Only what is relevant for that particular customer will default. So you will have to choose.
Okay.
Type
So thanks. Next one is, can document could be posted on yearly basis on any time in a financial year when benefit is given more than 20,000?
Ideally, see, whatever tax has been deducted in this month should be remitted to the tax authorities by 7th of next month, right? So you cannot hold it for the entire financial year. Ideally, it should be, if the benefit is provided in this particular month, not necessary that you will have to post an entry gift to gift if you do not want to track it that way. Maybe whatever benefit is provided in this particular month can be posted by the end of this month so that it can be picked for remittance by next month.
Okay. So Nitin is asking a question. I do not know whether this is a complete one for you, but I'll read it out. Can the purchase invoice or purchase order for gifts to 194R TDS?
Purchase order. I mean, I don't know if you're asking for a linkage. So there is no linkage with your purchase order and this 194R transaction that we showcased in the demo now. So that is why we've given you those reference fields. So in case you want to key in the purchase order as the reference, so that way you can link it so that it helps you for your internal tracking or your internal audit purpose.
So Nitin, if that was not the answer you were looking for, please post another question. So we'll try and see if we can come to that as well. And be a little more detailed, please, in terms of what exactly you're expecting. If the transaction code is activated in customer master, will it deduct TDS and T codes like FB05, FB04, I think?
No. Anyway, your tax type and tax code is for invoice time posting. So at the payment transactions, no TDS will not be deducted.
Okay. Will body be required even for profit center and business area derivation in standard way?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What if
because
we give free samples?
Withholding,
go on.
For TDS, it's only section code that is mandatory. So by default, we pass the section code because that is what is required for reporting purpose as well. So other parameters like your business place, your profit center, all of those things you will have to use the body.
Okay, thanks. Piyush is asking, what if we give free samples to customers? Will it come under 194R? No, right?
As of now, no. But I mean, the government can bring in the amendment or circular by end of this month and clarify as to what would come under the benefits or perquisites exactly.
Okay. So Pranesha and Ram Kumar Bala, you've raised your hands. Unfortunately, I cannot get you to ask your questions because we are on a webinar mode. Please type your questions in the Q&A box and we'll come to that, please. Next question. Please let us know the component which has to be selected for getting the SAP note for pilot implementation.
FI Priya, you know the component name? FI hyphen LOC INWHT, I guess, right?
FI LOC FIIN or excess CSC FII excess CSC INFI.
Yeah.
If you can just type on the chat so that people can actually make a note of it, please, Priya.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. What about the taxability of secondary scheme given to customers through issue of credit note? Will that be under this section?
We have no clarity on that part. Yes, as of now, the information that we have from our legal team is only the gifts in like whatever gift or a benefit in kind of a gold coin or a laptop or a trip sponsor, something like this. So in case something like your secondary benefits also is applicable under this, there's nothing to be worried about. You can key in that amount and you can post an entry. So this transaction will not restrict you only to gifts. So in case tomorrow the government brings in all the things under the ambit of 194R, like your trade discounts, cash discounts, etc., etc. So whatever discount has been provided to that particular customer in that month, maybe you can key in the value in the base amount field and you can post an entry for 194R. So this solution actually provides a feasibility to post in all kinds of documents here. I mean, there is no restriction on any kind of a transaction. That is why we've thought about and come out with an option like this, wherein we did not want to put it in the standard invoice or a standard billing document transaction, because we don't know what all will come under this ambit, what might not, right? So with this solution approach, you can key in or you can post in any kind of a benefit, whether it's trade discount, your cash discount, your free goods, samples, cash. In any case, you're provided a cash gift to any of your customers. So you can key in all those values and you can post an 194R TDS entry.
Okay, so next question, whether vendor code is created for posting the entry and deduction of tax vendor-wise.
I did not get the question. Yes, I mean, you have, see, the reason why we have introduced a supplier in the selection screen here itself is because, see, it's not necessary that when you're gifting something, it should only be your customers, because you had a very good business relationship with your supplier this year and you're gifting something to your supplier. So in order to avoid an additional overhead of creating a customer master for your supplier, we have accommodated our solution wherein for those suppliers also from whom you are procuring, if you are gifting something, you just can go and assign this tax type and tax code and ensure the TDS can be deducted. So this is to ease the burden of creating multiple masters.
Okay. So next question, why business area or profit center cannot be an input field in the J1 INJV itself?
Ideally, the standard, like I already told, the standard withholding tax and the standard TDS sections only requires you to have a section code as a key parameter, because that is required for us for reporting purpose. Business area or your business place or profit center ideally is not required. So we would, not necessary that all customers will key in all those values, right? Because what is required for us for our reporting is section code. So we have made it as a mandatory field in the selection screen. So other things, that's why we have also provided the BADI option. So if customers have those things as the key parameter in their organizations and they would want to post it to the accounting interface, they can use the BADI.
Okay. Next question, do we have to issue TDS certificates to customers or vendors at the end of each quarter?
Yes, 194R is no different from other sections of Income Tax Act. Like how you are doing it for 194Q, 194C, you will have to do it in the same way for 194R as well.
So what about if employees are going on a foreign tour? Is that covered in under this section?
From what I know, the employee transactions ideally should not be covered under 194R.
How can we remove tax code for every entry while we use FB05?
FP05 is a payment transaction wherein your tax type and tax code will not even appear there, because your tax type and tax code would be created only for invoice time posting. So at the payment level, ideally, it should not appear.
Is 194R applicable on donation to trust?
No idea. From not that I know of, from the information that I have from our legal team. Maybe you can get it clarified from your legal experts.
Auditor, yeah. So post credit note after sales, are these part of 194R?
No, like I said, there is no clarity or there's no defined benefits or perquisites what government is given us already. Okay, these are the transactions that come under 194R. So with this solution, whether it is post-sales transactions, credit notes, you can key in the value, you can give in the reference and post the TDS.
Okay. So next question again in similar vein, early payment incentive is given to dealers or customers if they make an early payment. Will 194R be applicable? No, right?
No.
Or partly in cash and partly in both of these forms. I don't know, Shankar. I think we covered your question. This is second part of your question. I do not have the context for the first part of your question. So move to the next one. If resident to whom benefit is given and 194R is applicable, there is no customer or vendor created in SAP, will 194R functionality work? I don't think so, right?
No, it won't work because ideally you will have to report it, right? Whatever tax you have deducted, you will have to remit to the tax authorities and you will have to report it quarterly. So if there's no customer or the supplier master, then where will you capture the PAN number and how will you report it to the tax authority?
Next question is also similar. Does one-time customer also fall under this? Yes, right?
Yes, yes.
Regarding the early payment incentive question, it is not related to payment of incentives to employees. The EPI is related to payment to dealers who pay their outstanding amount. We just covered this as well. So can the purchase invoice, purchase order be for gifts be linked to TDS posting to have better control?
Yes, yes. You have the text and the invoice reference field in the selection screen. Maybe I will show that as well. So you have this document header text and the reference fields here. So you can give in the PO reference here, or you can give in the invoice reference, billing reference. So in case you're giving some kind of an incentive to your dealers, you can give the document reference here and the text. So this is for you to key in the value so that you can track it internally as per your business requirement.
Okay, thanks. Just a quick side note to Priya. I see you have marked a couple of questions that you are answering. So I'm not asking those questions. I'm hoping that you are typing in the answer for those questions. So the next one is I got pilot note and done the configuration as per the note. Is it possible if my testing document is correctly posted to test whether the document is correctly posted?
I mean, I showed you how exactly the accounting entry would look like after you post the document. So if it's, I mean, if it is posted accordingly, then ideally it is working. So SAP will not be able to test it. We have also attached a process document in the note. So if your posting is as per that, then your solution is working correctly.
Okay. So next question is our customer is real estate and person or residential are the customers. So is it applicable to them?
The applicability of TDS, I mean, I know different organizations have different set of customers. So ideally, we would say it is, I mean, you will have to check it with your legal experts because SAP cannot get it checked for each and every customer because every organization would have their own business needs, right? So ideally, I would say that you will have to get this checked from your legal experts on whether 194R is applicable for these real estate transactions or not.
So do we need to send it to e-invoice portal?
No. See, this is directly reported to direct tax authorities, right? So this is not required by invoicing, eBay bill or your GST portal.
Okay. So free goods given at the time of customer invoice will fall under no, right? Or
Yeah,
yes, no.
As per the information that we have got from our legal team, no. But in case the free goods also fall under this category, you can still come and key in the value here of whatever free goods that you have gifted to your customer, and you can post. You can give the invoice reference of the free goods that has been issued, and you can post the 194R TDS entry.
Okay. Does benefit or perquisites also include cash and bank transfers?
As of now, no.
Okay. So question, how to ensure that TDS is deducted on all applicable cases?
No, see, when you're posting an entry and if you've gifted or if you provided some kind of a benefit, it becomes the responsibility of the benefit provider to track it, right? So, I mean, SAP cannot make any kind of a mandation there. You will be non-compliant if you are not posting a TDS entry wherein you've gifted something to your resident and you've not captured TDS for it and you've not remitted the same.
Suppose there are 50 customers to whom, so this is mass upload. I think this is already answered.
Yes.
So will this applicable to schemes created through Vistex for B2B business?
So these questions, Mukesh, I mean, ideally their tax expert should answer them.
Yeah.
Because I have already clarified in my slide as to what exactly is the details that our legal team has given. So if your legal team is having a different opinion to that, anyway, with this solution, you can still go ahead and post, but I will not be able to clarify as to where is it applicable, where is it not applicable. So your legal experts are the best people to answer to those questions.
Okay, so I'll try and see if I'll try and make sure that I do not ask those questions, similar questions, so that we can cover more questions. So can we give document type and profit center option in input parameters of 194 T code?
No, it's actually not possible. See, we can give it, but what happens is, I mean, if it is not necessary that all the customers would want to key in those values, right? So for you also at the backend, it's just a one-time activity. You will have to just implement the baddie and enhance it to ensure that going forward, all the postings will have your profit center or your segment or whatever values filled in automatically. But we will not be able to provide that in this transaction because it is not required for 194R.
Okay. So next question, why accounting entry debiting the customer or vendor? Because it's not a liability or payable to vendor or customer.
No, it's not like that. What we are doing is there's one tax account to which the amount will be posted to, and because you have to collect it from your customer or your supplier, right? Because you're gifted something to your customer, so you'll have to collect the TDS from them. That's why we debit the customer or the supplier account and we credit the tax account. This is just like your other TDS postings, wherein there you would also have a base amount line, but here only tax lines are available because it's only tax amount that should be charged from the customer or the supplier.
So next question, how can we see total base amount wherein multiple entries have been posted on which TDS 194R has been posted for customer or vendor?
I showed you in the accounting entry, I guess, wherein the base amount. Why would you need the base amount in the selection screen here or in the accounting entry? Because anyway, base amount is what is required internally for us for reporting part. Ideally, if the tax amount of 100 rupees has been deducted, when you're reporting, you should be showing a base amount corresponding to this tax amount. That is why we capture the base amount in the tables which are specific for withholding tax. But where do you want to see the base amount is not clear to me.
Okay. So we are required to deduct TDS under section 194 on out-of-pocket expenses given to consultants in some cases. How to post such entries in line item?
So you will have to, I mean, whoever you are providing such kind of a benefit to, you will have to create a master data for them. And you will have to come and post an entry through this transaction, J1I and JV. So this transaction does not stop you from posting to any kind of a customer or a supplier, but you will have to create a customer or a supplier master, without which you will not be able to post the entries. And later on, we will also not be able to report those entries without the customer or the supplier master.
Next question, if we are deducting TDS while procuring gifts, and then again at the time of providing gifts, then will it not be double taxation? I think that's a question again for your tax consultant to answer.
Yeah.
So if user calculate the 194R in current month and another user execute for the same month, is there any validation to check duplicate entries?
For the same customer?
Yeah.
See, this transaction
same
will
transaction
not
basically, yeah.
Yeah, see, ideally for this supplier, say test_194Q, there could be a chance wherein multiple gifts are provided, right? So we will not be able to put a stop there as to this transaction should be executed only once. There are customers who will post it on a case-by-case basis. For every single gift that is being given, they can post an entry. Some customers might choose to post a mass entry. Say, for example, 10 gifts are provided for this particular customer. So they'll post one entry. So we cannot put a check on whether this transaction is already been executed and all that. It is not possible. So you will have to ensure that the posting is done on, I mean, whichever way, on a daily basis. Once the invoice is posted, you give the reference and you post. Or you can do it on a monthly basis. So in this particular month, a total gift of say 50,000 was provided to the supplier. So I'm posting an entry.
So I believe this was answered, but I'll still ask because this has come up third time now. Suppose there are 50 customers to whom we have given gift. Do we have to make individual J1 INJV entry? Are there no mass entry options?
That is what Priya already told, that you can do
Yeah.
a recording and you can ensure that this posting can happen for multiple customers or multiple suppliers.
Yeah. So this 10% is on GST, on with GST amount, or gift on without GST amount?
This, as per what we have got the information from our legal team, it's only on the gift amount.
Not on the GST.
Not on the GST.
Is there any report available, or can we generate a report for 194R?
What report? I am not sure. If you're looking at the quarterly returns report, yes, quarterly returns report will be delivered as part of the standard solution. This report will be due only by 15th of October 2022. So once the utility is available in the government portal as to how exactly 194R document should be reported, we will also enhance our solution and publish it to all of you.
Okay. So Devang Pandya says that free samples are liable to be to TDS under section 194R as per clarification provided yesterday by CBDT, just as an FYI. RTGS and virtual payment, which are auto posting. So how to remove withholding tax key?
Withholding tax key. Those are payment transactions, and if this tax type and tax code is created only for invoice time, it should not impact your payment transactions.
Yeah. Okay. Question is it from customer side or vendor side? I believe the answer is both, right?
Yeah.
So do we need to manually remove withholding tax for 194R from FB70 transaction every time? Can it be avoided by any chance?
Yeah, there are some bodies available here. Means some standard bodies available. Maybe you can implement those bodies and remove the tax type tax code if you don't want in FB60 or FB70 transaction.
Okay, next question. 194R screen is very tricky to post the Indian business transactions. Always business is looking to check the PC, plant and business place transactions. Here we don't have any base to capture the PC or CC or BUPLA based on the body.
I did not get the question clearly, but see, what is relevant for 194R will be part of the selection screen. See, ideally for the direct tax authorities are not concerned about your business place. They're only concerned about your section code or your TAN number, right? So that is what we are capturing here. Business place is required for your GST transactions. Yes. So their business place plays a key role. So in this context, or in 194R under Income Tax Act, ideally, business place is not required. So that is why we've still provided an option through BADI wherein you can pass in those values, but as part of the selection screen parameter, it is not required.
Okay, thanks. For all of you who are raising your hands, unfortunately, since we are on a webinar mode, I cannot get you to ask your question. So you'll have to post your question on the Q&A tab, please. Next question. Once we have posted entry using J1 INJV and we have to collect the TDS amount from customer or vendor, how do we take print of the debit note to provide documentation for collecting the tax amount?
The standard print program. I mean, so far for any of the print transactions, we have not provided any standard solution. So the standard print form can be used, and you can give the print of the document that is being posted to your customer or your supplier.
I think we've already answered this question. We have multiple stakeholders to whom small gift will be given. Anyway, we can club all of this and post together vendor code wise.
Correct. Yeah.
Can we be? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So for invoices which are already posted but not yet paid, vendor master data is now changed with 4R. Will it cause inconsistent withholding tax information during F110?
Priya?
No, when you post the invoice, and then here we are not assigned any payment time tax type tax code, right? So it should not be any issue in F110, and that what already been the answer date.
Okay, so how can this be posted for one-time customers? For one-time customer, each time data will be different. So will it support it? So you have to create one for every time, right? For every customer, correct?
Yes.
Is grossing up allowed? And if yes, how it has to be accounted for? You said yes, but how it has to be accounted for?
Grossing up in the sense, if they're talking about the accumulation amount of 20,000, then like I said, we will not be capturing, or we will not be storing the amount anywhere. So it should be kept as a track at the customer end, and you will have to charge the TDS accordingly.
Okay. So if withholding tax key for invoice, then TDS will not be deducted on payment received from customer.
Correct.
So we have provide bonus medicine to stockists, such as on 10 medicine box, 2 box extra given as bonus. Is this taxable under this section?
As per the information we have from our legal team, no.
Hmm.
But I just got to know from one of you in a couple of minutes back that free goods is also under 184R.
Taxable. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
in that case, you can key in that amount and you can post here. Say 2 boxes is costing around 10,000 rupees. You can post it here and you can give the invoice reference and post the TDS under 194R.
So there is a question, posting the accounting entries, how can we clear vendor debit or customer credit balance?
So once you receive the payment, you can knock it off. Just like your other TDS transactions. This is no different from that. It will appear in your payment transactions for you to clear it.
So which table will store the data?
If you're talking about the withholding the tax amount, then it is with item table, which will have the values of the tax that is being deducted.
Can you share? Okay, so Priya is already typing answer for that. Request to share the bodies. Okay, that is also something that maybe Priya, bodies you can type on the chat directly so that there are multiple people asking for the same question.
Okay, sure.
Pawan, you can access the recording on the YouTube channel. You will also get a link post this event. Are the transactions to be considered from 1st April or 1st July? So I think the answer is 1st July.
Yes.
Okay. Can we do that change for SAP customization at our end?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So are credit notes for discounts, rebates given to subsequent sales, is it subject to 194R?
I mean, you can check it with your legal experts.
Yeah.
If it is applicable, yes, you can come in and key in the amount and the reference and post.
Again, recording, Pawan, it is already on. If you actually look at the Zoom screen right now, at the top, you'll find YouTube, live on YouTube. If you just click on that, you can actually access the view stream on YouTube, and that's the link where the recording lives. So I will post the link to the recording right now on the chat so that you can all open it up and save it in case you want to access it at a later point in time. I just put it on the chat. So, okay, so there is one question, how to link exemption of 20,000 with customer and vendor transaction?
No, there's no standard way of exempting it. So you will have to keep a tab on how much gift is being provided. So once it is crossed the 20,000 limit, it's anyway applicable on all your benefits or perquisites, right? So there is no way to track it by the standard means of accumulation.
Okay, super. So we are 2 minutes over and we still have a couple of questions. If that is okay, we can just finish those.
No. Yes.
So request to share the bodies for FB60 and FB72, Priya, on the chat. Do we have SAP mass upload facility? No, that is answered. When we assign the new withholding tax type in customer or vendor master data, during the invoice posting, does it not have any withholding tax calculations?
I did not get it, Mukesh.
I think Priya is typing an answer, or at least started typing an answer, but for a long time it's just showing that. So I'm assuming Priya, you are able to answer the question.
Yes, I have typed. Means the body I have already typed in the chat.
Okay. No. So for the question, 2 questions that are open, both says that you are answering the question. So
no, maybe we can read and then we can give in live.
Okay. So can you share the notes to activate? It is already answered. So I would assume that this is already answered. And the second one is when we assign the new withholding type in customer or vendor master data, then during the invoice posting, does it not have any withholding tax calculation?
No. See, ideally, when you're posting an invoice, you will have to remove the unwanted tax types and tax codes, right? So if an invoice is being posted for a particular section, you will have to remove the other tax types and tax codes. You cannot post TDS for multiple sections in one invoice, right? So ideally, you will have to remove those tax types and tax codes. which are not relevant.
Super. Thank you so much, Brinda. Thank you so much, Priya. We have kind of gone through all the questions first time of doing these localization SIG meetings. So thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining in. As I mentioned, the link to the recording is already available on the chat. Please open it up so that you can save it and share it with your colleagues. You will also get an email follow-up email post this session, which will have the slides. I mean, a lot of people did ask for slides. So Brinda, if you can just PDF the PPT and send it to me, so I will upload the slides as well to the participants.
Sure, Mukesh. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Stay safe.
you.
Stay healthy.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend. Bye-bye.